Hello and welcome to the sixth round of the race, the Dynamic Nights Master Tier for the Italian Grand Prix here in Monza. My name is Expert and I'll be your commentator for tonight's race. The Temple of Speed is where we are at tonight, and 20 drivers will be battling it out for the top step of the podium around this 5.793 kilometer circuit. 11 corners make up the track, with 4 of them to the left and 7 to the right. It's going to be a tight battle here today, as always, around the Monza circuit, considering the massive advantages you can gain from being in someone's slipstream and DRS around here. So let me know in the live chat as soon as possible your qualifying and race predictions for this afternoon's Italian Grand Prix. Let's have a quick look now at your results from the last round in Canada. Actually, it wasn't the last round in Canada, so I'm actually going to skip that. I'm sorry about that. Zach Crichton leads the way at the moment on 155 points ahead of Aaron L304 on 135. X Revolution in third at the moment, ahead of 40 Spilly, and Plevs will round out your top 6. Stuart McKenzie in P7 ahead of Wogboy in 8th. 9th will be Romeo Alonso, and rounding out your top 10 will be Toddson 99 for Haas. VSR Roscoe in 11th ahead of Crossy, the Gaming Wafer, Very Lazy Tail, Aussie, Wizzy Rick, and Swaggy in the McLaren. Hooter Magic in 17th, 18th Jay Schmidt, Toes Rudy, and Ellis or El Tonki in P24 Toro Rosso. Then here are the constructors' standings. Mercedes currently lead the way at the moment ahead of their sister team of the Pink Mercedes Racing Point. They currently sit on 171 points. A couple over 100 points separate those two, so that's a pretty good margin that the Mercedes have at the moment. Williams will be in 4th behind Ferrari in P3, Red Bull 5th ahead of Alfa Romeo, Haas, Renault, McLaren, and Toro Rosso will round out your constructors' standings. And here is the multi for tonight: Ferrari to win at home, Plebs to finish the race, Alfa Romeo to score over 15.5 points, and VSC in the first 7 laps. So we'll have to see how that goes, but let's get some predictions in the live chat now, guys. Waiting for the drivers to begin their 18-minute qualifying session. It's going to be a tight one here, especially. We'll have to see if we see any teams playing any games or trying to give each other some toes. We'll have to see how that goes, but it's going to be an interesting one. We'll have to see how it goes. Just waiting for the drivers now to get into the qualifying session. I'll go through my predictions for you right now. So we have a couple reserves here tonight. I'll let you know. I'll get you a list of reserves in 1 second. So the reserves we have tonight, we will have Andre or Dr. Dre. He will be in the Mercedes. Rocks or The Rock will be in the Williams. Harass will be in the McLaren. Alex will be in the Red Bull. BK will be in the Alfa Romeo. Gaming Burger in the Renault. And F1 Amazing Al in the Racing Point. So we'll have to see how that goes, but I think we may actually be having a bit of an error here with a lobby. Hopefully this does get resolved before the race gets going. It's loaded now, so thank God for that. We're good now. I'm going to swap it over to the main screen. As you can see, the qualifying session is now officially underway. It actually says 1 lap there. Okay, now it's swapped over. So a few technical difficulties at the beginning of the session, but it all looks good now. So the drivers will be adjusting or doing their final tweaks to their setups now to try and go as fast as possible around the circuit. You want to be running as minimal downforce as possible around here, as straight line speed is absolutely priority around this circuit. Some key points as well we need to point out, or some potential danger zones. We'll have to see potentially some drivers making some errors. Will be the Ascari chicane, maybe heading through the Lesmos as well of turn 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. I do believe that is. So through turn 6 and 7. We have our first prediction in the chat as well. Alcatraz 619 Gaming, P1 Zach, P2 Spilly, and P3 will be Wogboy. So we'll have to see how that goes. But a couple of drivers are now heading out onto the racetrack. It looks like Dr. Dre is heading out as well for Mercedes, trying to find that Alfa Romeo. It looks like it's actually the Gaming Wafer. So he looks like he will be the first driver out on track. And there is a Racing Point right behind him as well. That could potentially be F1 Amazing Out. It is. So we'll have to see how Amazing Out goes tonight. I'm not too sure, because Amazing Out may be on the wheel. I'm not too sure. So we'll have to see what he does, if he is on the wheel or if he is on the controller. He has been practicing on the wheel a little bit recently, so we'll have to see how that goes for him. We'll try and get some confirmation for you guys as soon as possible, but it looks like he will be the first driver to set a lap time, as he is now the first driver out on track as he heads through the Ascari chicane on his outlap. The majority of drivers will be opting for that soft compound of tyre to qualify on anyway. Don't think we'll see any drivers starting on the mediums anyway. We'll have to see how that goes, but we're going to ride on board with Amazing as he will be the first driver to set a lap time around the Italian Grand Prix Monza circuit as he now comes up to the line under the F1 2019 board, starts his first flying lap here, opens the RS nice and wide. As you head into the first chicane of turn 1 and 2, you can normally munch that inside curve for turn 1, but turn 2 you don't really want to touch the curb as it is a lot bigger. You can see that massive sausage curve as he gets to that apex nicely there, does the Racing Point driver under the Pirelli board. He goes right about now down through the Curva Grande. He goes through turn 3, heading into the second chicane now of turn 4 and 5. Braking just around the 100 meter board. You want to use as much curb on entry there as possible through that whole chicane. I will in a sec, Spilly. Just give me a sec. As you now head through the first Lesmo, runs it a little bit wide. Through the second Lesmo, you want to carry as much speed as possible through there and make sure you prioritize your exit because that is what's going to gain you all the time down the straight. Heading under the old Monza Bowl, he heads now into the Ascari chicane. Very easy to run it too deep into here and completely screw your run up and munch his curve that he is now heading through now and put it in the wall as we have actually seen F1 Amazing how to do before around the Monza circuit. So only some people will know that what I'm talking about there, but anyway, he heads into Parabolica now. Goes F1 Amazing Al. Doesn't seem to be pushing too hard on his outlap here, or his first run of the session, and here comes up to the line. This will give us an insight of what the track is doing. A 1 minute 19.5, gaming way for a 1 minute 19.7, so pretty solid first lap there for Amazing Al. 19.5. I'm sure we'll see drivers maybe potentially slipping into that 1 minute 18 mark. We'll have to see what happens there. But still, McKenzie now for Alfa Romeo's got himself into P2 as well with a 1 minute 19.6, so only just slightly off the Racing Point driver in front of him. But now 40 goes to pole position with a 1 minute 19.458. So currently there's a Racing Point 1-2 at the moment, so they'll be absolutely happy with their first runs there. Gaming way for slots into P4 ahead of Dr. Dre in that Mercedes car for P5 and 19.9. All these drivers opting for that soft compounded tyre. Aussie Wizzy Rick MP6 or McLaren ahead of Hooter Magic MP7 for Red Bull. Gaming Burger in 8th ahead of Alex 96 NZ MP9. What is... Try and find another driver that is on a lap. It looks like the Rock is starting a lap. Who was that just jumped up a few spots? That was Very Lazy Towel. MP6 for Ferrari. He's jumped up onto the third row of the grid, but the Rock now starts his flying lap. As you can see, his teammates exiting the pits now. Into turn 1 he goes, runs it a little bit wide through turn 1, doesn't get to the apex, turns it in a little bit late, but he's now exits turn 2, gets a lot of oversteers that is very easy to do, especially if you do touch that exit curb. Not too sure what the conditions are doing either, so hopefully someone in the live chat can let us know what's going on with that. Heading into the second chicane, he now goes very cautious into here. Obviously this is a no assist league as well. All the Dynamic Knights leagues are no assists available to the driver, so that's no traction control, no ABS, no manual no auto ERS, no racing line, so this is completely down to driver skills. Now VSR Roscoe goes to pole position for... Who's that? That's for Haas. So Roscoe goes to pole position with the 19.457. 1/1000th of a second faster than 40.22's time. No, that's 1/1. Hang on. So that's 10,000. That's right. Don't know what I'm doing. Anyway, 1/1000th of a second. That is mega tight. He must have... Any tiny little error or littlest mistake there from Roscoe. He put the accelerator a fraction later than what he would have at any corner. He would have gone slower than 40 there. So that is a nice job there from the Haas car, or the Haas team I should say, to get that car up onto the front row of grid. But we're going to go back on board with the Rock F1 as he now... Actually, was it the Rock? I'm trying to remember. It was the Rock. So he only manages 1 minute 22.780 there. Obviously he's actually on that medium tyre, so unfortunately for him, that's just completely wasted a run here because he's going to have to come back into the pit lane and put on that red striped soft tyre because there's absolutely no point in starting on that medium tyre. You can see we're still waiting on El Tonky, Wogboy, BK, Spilly, Plevs and Toddy to set a lap. You see Spilly's unfortunately invalidated his lap time in the Ferrari. BK is still yet to get out of the pits, but it looks like Wogboy's on a lap. We're going to ride on board with him as he's normally pretty quick or pretty handy around the no assist leagues or the master tier. He doesn't get into that corner very good there, runs it a little bit too deep and just lost the rear end, but he does have a purple first sector though, so that will be telling as it comes towards the end of the lap. He runs very right on the exit of the first Lesmo, but still gets it turned. Doesn't seem to be very confident on that rear on the rear of the car that heading through that second sector, but we'll have to see what he's doing. He must be running very low wings, but he now heads up to the Ascari chicane, goes to Williams driver. Little bit of oversteer there. You can see he's not super confident on that rear traction, especially on the exit of the corner, but he now heads up to Parabolica under the Emirates board. He goes, has a little bit of traffic in front of him. Hopefully he gets out of the way. Who's that? That's the Rocks. Hopefully he gets out of the way. Just gets out of the way. That's definitely going to affect Wogboy here. So hopefully that won't cost him too much time. It is only his first lap out. So what's he going to do is he comes up to the line now. He manages P7 with a 1 minute 19.8. So not too far off the pace, but honestly, any mistake around here is just going to cost you so much time, as we are now waiting for Ellis, BK, Spilly, Plevs and Todster to all set a lap. But I don't think Wogboy will be too happy with the car that just blocked him now. I do believe that was a Mercedes. Was that Zach Crichton? No, it wasn't Zach Crichton. Was it Dr. Dre? I'm not too sure it was. Was it actually his teammate? I think it may have been his teammate, to be honest. I'm trying to think who the other Williams was. It was the Rock. So unfortunately, the Rock may have just balked his teammate there. So we'll have to see what's going to happen there with the stewards. But now BK is out by the looks. Tots has now got himself actually up into P12. So Toddy's only managed P12 here with 1 minute 20.3. So that he's not going to be too happy with that. He'll be wanting to get up the grid a little bit more than what he is at the moment. Spilly down in P13 with a 20.5 for on that soft compound attire. So he'll be wanting to jump up the grid a little bit more as well. Gaming Burger still holding on to P14 ahead of Harass. Down in P15 for McLaren ahead of Alex the Rock. Still waiting on Ellis, BK and Plevs to settle up, as it looks like Plevs will be starting. It's actually, no, BK is starting his lap now, I should say, as he heads up to turn 1. He's got a lot of traffic in front of him. Hopefully they all get out of the way. You can see the 2 racing points in front of him there. Hopefully they get out of the way. There was a car that just got out of the way heading into turn 1, so that could have affected him a little bit, but he now comes up through the Curva Grande. Goes the Alfa Romeo driver heading up into the second chicane. He goes, he still has those racing points in front of him. I'm not too sure if they're on a lap. They will be 40-22 and F1 Amazing Hour. So will these two be trying to give each other a tow here, heading down the long straight through the, or heading up to Ascari. He now heads to the second Lesmo. Goes BK. Has been practicing a little bit before the race, trying to get used to no assist. Obviously, here's one of our reserve drivers here this afternoon, as he now heads into the Ascari chicane. This is obviously his first lap out on track, so this will just be a feeler session to see what his tyres are like. But still McKenzie now with a 1 minute 19.186 for Alfa Romeo. So that's a very nice lap there from the Italian team. Congratulations to him. But obviously there's still 8 minutes and 30 seconds remaining, so he's obviously set a very nice lap time there. But we'll have to see what other drivers can do. And unfortunately, BK's lost it at Parabolica. It was looking like a decent lap there from the Alfa Romeo driver, but now he's going to wait and let all the drivers go past that are heading through Parabolica, and then he'll be able to flick spin around. He has a Haas coming around there right about now. I do believe that is VSR Roscoe. He just misses him there, but what's VSR Roscoe going to do? He's coming up to the line. Unfortunately, he invalidated that lap, but I think that was his out lap as he now starts his second time run here. Will VSR Roscoe be able to respond to the Alfa Romeo of Stuart McKenzie, currently sitting on pole position? Heads to turn 1 and 2, clips that curb nicely, doesn't get on the gas very nicely though, is a little bit slow to put that gas pedal down, but he now heads through the Curva Grande. Goes the Haas driver. I've only had one prediction in the chat, guys, let me know some more. He has a little bit of traffic in front of him. That was a Red Bull by the looks of it. He uses a lot of curb there, does Roscoe as he now heads through the second sector of the first and second Lesmo. I won't know, Alcatraz. Don't worry. I've had the rundown from Tao. Anyway, he now heads up to Ascari, braking around the 100 meter board, turns in a little bit early, and unfortunately has invalidated his time here. Has Roscoe. He looks like he's going to try and push on though, just to see what time he's going to be able to get. Zach Crichton's also got himself into P2 with a 1 minute 19.236, so a tenth and a bit off Stuart McKenzie's time. We'll have to see if he can improve. He probably will get 1, maybe 2 runs in the end, but as you can see, Roscoe is now going to pull into the pits. Not too sure if he was up on his time, but unfortunately that's just a wasted set of soft tyres there for him. I swear the 2 racing points did come out, but I'm not too sure if they may have both come back into the pits, so I'm not too sure what's happened there. So Waffles has also got himself up in a P3 for Toro Rosso, a 19.3, so that's not a bad lap from him. Very lazy Tao, looks like he's on a lap. He's heading to the Ascari chicane. Unfortunately, made a little error there. That's going to cost him ever so slightly. He did actually have a purple second sector, so Tao's actually looking on for a very good lap here. He's currently sitting on a 1 minute 20.135. He heads up to Parabolic now, breaking around that 50 meter, but turns it in very early. Didn't really feel confident getting the car stopped, so he had to turn the car in early. He heads up to the line now. What time is the Ferrari driver going to be able to set? He doesn't actually improve there, so I'm not too sure what's happened to him there. He didn't invalidate, so not too sure what's happened to Tao there. But anyway, Todster looks like he's on a lap. He's heading through, or exiting the second Lesmo now. He was 0.137 up on his time heading on the exit of the second Lesmo. What's he going to be able to do? Currently that will move, actually that won't move him up any spots at the moment, so he's going to find a little bit more time. He's currently up 2 spots, sorry, 2 tenths now, so at this stage he will jump ahead of Very Lazy Tao, but that will only be for P11, so he won't be too happy with that. Currently the top 11 are all separated by a second, so what is Todster 99 going to be able to do? He heads through Parabolic now with 5 minutes and 20 seconds remaining in the session. What's the Haas driver going to be able to do? Up to the line he goes. Only manages to get P8 with a 19.6 there. That time round. Did have a purple final sector though, so it's promising for him, but he's just got to try and put a whole lap together, and that will move him up around where his teammate is. Currently sitting MP4, who VSR Roscom is actually on his out lap now, so we'll have to see what he's able to do. Obviously, he just invalidated his previous lap, so we'll have to see what he's able to do. But currently, with 4 minutes and 50 seconds remaining in the session, Stuart McKenzie currently leads away at the moment. He's on his out lap. He's currently sitting on a 1 minute 19.186, a tenth and a bit off. Sorry, ahead of Zach Ryan in that Mercedes. P3 will be the gaming wave ahead of VSR Roscoe. 40.22 will round out your top 5 for Racing Point ahead of his teammate F1 Amazing out in P6. P7, Aussie Wizzy Rick for McLaren ahead of Todster 99 in P8. P9 will be Dr. Dre, and Ranier's top 10 will be the Williams driver of XX Wogboy for Williams. P11 will be Hooter Magic ahead of Tao, Rock, Spilly, and Gaming Wafer Gaming Burger rather, will round out your top 15 ahead of Alex Harass, El Tonki, BK, and unfortunately Plebs does have a qualifying ban, I do believe, so he will be starting from the rear of the grid for tonight's Italian Grand Prix. We'll have to see what he opts to do with strategy. Normally you want to be doing around a soft medium run. It's pretty easy to manage your tyres around here, as there's not many corners to wear your tyres out, to be honest. But obviously it is very easy to spin around the fast corners, especially heading through the Ascari chicane and the Lesmo sections of the racetrack. A lot of the drivers are in the pit lane at the moment. It looks like Dr. Dre has aborted his lap here. He's currently sitting in P9 for Mercedes. The Rock looked like he started a lap, but unfortunately he invalidated, so he's going to have to try and get back around to try and set another lap time. Spilly is now starting up. He has a little bit of traffic in front of him. As you can see, the Williams getting out of the way. He heads into turn 1 now. Does Spilly, breaking between the 150 meter board and the 100 meter board. Gets it turned in nicely. Late apex as the second corner. Gets through there very nicely, actually. Does the Ferrari driver. As he now heads through the Curva Grande of turn 3. Keeps it nice and tight to minimize the track distance as he now heads into the second chicane of turn 4, 5. Has a purple first sector there, so that's promising. First lap time from the Ferrari driver. Doesn't use much curb on the inside of the track there, so that's going to cost him a little bit down this short straight as he heads into the first Lesmo. It's a little bit of oversteer on acceleration there heading through the second Lesmo. He now has to do a little bit of a correction on the steering and a little bit early on the gas there from the Ferrari driver. That's going to cost him a little bit as he heads down this straight heading into Ascari under the old Monza Bowl. He just went breaking around the 100 meter board, has a purple second sector as well, so unfortunately he's invalidated here now, has Billy, so the Ferrari driver has unfortunately invalidated his time here. If he does continue, we'll see what time he manages to do, because he had a purple first and second sector. So does he continue on with his lap, or does he come into the pit lane? So now heads up to the line. What is the Ferrari driver going to end up doing? 19.4, so that would have slotted him in to P4 ahead of the Haas of VSR Roscoe. So unfortunately for Spilly there, that looks like this will be his session over. He nearly runs into the racing point there of, was that 40? I do believe it was 40. It was 40, so just wasn't paying attention there, was Billy, but anyway. You see the top 6 are all on their outlaps at the moment, trying to find space, as it looks like Stuart McKenzie will be the first of that pack. He does have a car behind him, so he needs to get out of the way here. Looks like it's a Red Bull, so hopefully he does get out of the way. I'm not too sure if he is on a lap. Is that Hooter Magic or Alex? It's actually Alex. So Alex did invalidate his lap time there, but let's ride on board. I'm going to pick. Let's ride on board with Zach Crichton as he does his final lap. He'll be the one that wants to get pole position here. Couple of rivalries within this race tonight, so we'll have to see how that goes. We're going to ride on board with Zach Crichton as he looks to be starting his lap now. Heading through Parabolica, runs it a little bit wide. That's going to cost him all the way down the straight. A little bit of poor driving there from the Mercedes driver as he runs it nice and wide, heading up down the straight just to maximise the amount of straight line speed. Very smart there from the Mercedes driver. I definitely didn't tell him that, but now he comes into turn 1 and 2, revs the car out in second gear, cuts the turn 1 corner, and unfortunately for Zach Crichton, that is his qualifying session over. So we've given him the commentator's curse, and he's going to have to settle for P2 here. So unfortunately for Zach Crichton, our current championship leader, he has bottled it basically on his final run. So not a very championship leader worthy lap for the Mercedes car. So he's going to have to sit back and watch what the other drivers can do. As Stuart McKenzie's on a lap, he does have a purple second sector. I'm not too sure if he is up on his time. He's made a mistake. Here's McKenzie and he's in the wall. The Alfa Romeo driver made a mistake through Ascari. We talked about this at the beginning of the qualifying session, that it is very easy to lose a rear end of the car. And unfortunately for Stuart McKenzie, he is out of the qualifying session. So is the gaming wafer. He's only settled for P3 here. So what will Roscoe be able to do? He's actually on his outlap here as Roscoe, so he's not going to be able to improve. So it's only going to be 40-22 here. He does have a purple second sector. So what's he going to be able to do? He has a lot of traffic in front of him. Just manages to squeeze through. Unfortunately for him, I don't think that... Sorry, fortunately for him, that wouldn't have cost him too much time as he now heads into Parabolica. Goes the Racing Point driver. I think he will be a little bit stunned or frightened after that near miss there. I do believe that was with Zach Crichton, but he now comes up to the line, goes 40-22, and he goes to pole position with a 1 minute 19.097. What a lap there from the Racing Point car. Toddy now gets himself up in a P4 for Haas. Nice lap in the end there for him. Roscoe only manages to get P6, so Todster will out-qualify his teammate for the Italian Grand Prix. What will F1 Amazing be able to do? He's backed out of his lap here, so he's going to have to settle for P7 or potentially lower. Aussie Wizzy Rick is heading up to the line now by the looks of it. Will he come in the pits? No, he does continue. What's the McLaren driver going to be able to do? He's going to manage to get into P6 here. He improved by a 10th with a 1 minute 19.438 in the end. And that looks like it will be set. What is Tao going to be able to do? He has now pitted. So that looks like that will be your Dynamic Nights Esports Master Tier qualifying session. 40-22 will take provisional pole position ahead of Stuart McKenzie. They will be starting alongside each other heading into turn 1 for the Italian Grand Prix. Zach Crichton will start on the second row alongside the Haas driver of Todson 99P4 in P4. P5 will be the Toro Rosso of Gaming Wafer ahead of Aussie Wizzy Rig. VSR Roscoe will start in P7 ahead of F1 Amazing in 8th. Then rounding at your 5th row will be Wog Boy, and I'm not too sure who is in 9th. I'll clarify that with you in a moment. Let me know some more predictions in the live chat, guys. As you can see here, it was Dr. Dre that managed to get himself into P9 for Mercedes. Nice lap there from the Works Mercedes team. And then Renier top 10, as I said, will be the Williams of Wogboy. Huda Magic managed to get P11 for Red Bull ahead of Very Lazy Tail in P12. P13 will be the Rock F1 ahead of Very Lazy Tail's teammate of Spilly. P15 will be the Gaming Burger ahead of Alex Ellis. Sorry, El Tonki, Harass, BK, and Plebs unfortunately had that qualifying ban, so he'll be starting from the rear of the grid for the Italian Grand Prix. But let me know some more predictions in the live chat as I am going to head off here real quick and let the drivers head over to the grid. As you can see now, the drivers are beginning their formation lap. 27 laps. They will have to battle it out for the Italian Grand Prix. Let me know some more race predictions in the live chat. We've only had one so far from Alcatraz. Let me know some more. Your top 3 predictions for the Dynamic Knights Esports Master Tier at the Italian Grand Prix. Going to quickly remind you of the multi for tonight's race. Obviously, Ferrari to win at home, Plebs to finish the race, Alfa Romeo to score over 15.5 points, and VSC in the first 7 laps. So let's start with Ferrari to win at home. Obviously, both Ferraris are out of the top 10 at the moment, so that's going to be a struggle for them to get at least one of the drivers even on the podium. So that'll be a mega drive from either of them if they can do that, but we'll have to see what they can end up doing. Plebs obviously is starting from the rear of the grid, so if he can keep his nose clean, he should be able to get up the grid pretty quickly. He is a very quick driver, is the Renault car, so we'll have to see what he's able to do. Alfa Romeo to score over 15.5 points. Obviously BK down in P19 at the moment, but his teammate is Stuart McKenzie currently sitting in P2, so if he manages to get P2, he will score over 15.5 points and VSC in the first 7 laps. So we'll have to see if that ends up happening. But we're going to remind you real quick of the order as the drivers are about to conclude their formation lap. 40.22 managed to bag pole position in the end with a final lap dash. Or his final lap, he managed to get himself ahead of Stuart McKenzie in that Alfa Romeo. Unfortunately, he binned it at the end of qualifying, so the Alfa Romeo crew was cut out all last night. Well, they were up all last night trying to get that car repaired. Zach Ryan only managed P3. Unfortunately for him, he made a little error through turn 1 and he unfortunately invalidated his time. Pretty rookie error from him. Toddster in P4 for Haas ahead of the Gaming Way for MP5. Aussie Wizzy Rick managed to get P6 for McLaren. He will start on the 3rd row alongside the Gaming Way for VSR. Oscar managed to get into P7 with a pretty nice lap ahead of F1 Amazing Hour in P8. P9 will be Dr. Dre 3000 and running at top 10 will be Wogboy for Williams ahead of Huda Magic, Very Lazy Towel, Rocks, Billy, Gaming Way for Alex, El Tonki, Harass in P18 ahead of P19 of BK, and your top 20 will be Plevs. My predictions real quick. I reckon Amazing Al. I reckon Amazing Al will get onto the podium. I reckon he'll be 3rd. 2nd, in my opinion, will be Todd's 99, and I reckon winning the race, to be honest. I reckon it will be 40, but anyway, the light sequence is now beginning for the Italian Grand Prix. 5 red lights, and we are underway. Very quick start there, and a couple of drivers have been held on the grid here, so I think that's been a little bit of an incident here with lag. So unfortunately for a couple of drivers, they have all missed the start, and a lot of the drivers are going back here, but it looks like Stuart McKenzie leads away into turn 1. He's going to jump ahead of 40.22. So unfortunately, that was a glitch there with the start light. So unfortunately, some drivers have dropped way back already at the start of the Grand Prix. Thompson's going to slot in the P3 now for Haas ahead of the Gaming Way for Zach Crine. Very Lazy Towel will get himself up into P6 already outside of the top 10 he started, I do believe, in P11. The Ferrari driver started, and he's already up into the top 6. What a start there from him. Wogboy MP7 ahead of Roscoe. I'm Alex. Dr. Dre real round 80, top 10, and that's a Red Bull there off the back. That looks like Huda Magic that's run off the exit of the escape road, heading through the second chicane. He's going to go side by side now with Gaming Wave heading through the first Lesman. There's a yellow flag in sector 2. What's that for? It looks like it's a local yellow. Spilly's dropped back down to P15. The Rock in 16. BK. Harass and Plebs is the incident front, I think that is that BK now trying to go around the outside of Alex, heading down this short straight, heading to Ascari. But unfortunately, that start there just completely ruined a bunch of people's races already, so they're going to have a lot of work to try and catch back up. But still, McKenzie leads away at the moment, a 10th between these two. Obviously, I wouldn't be surprised if we just see 40 just chill in Stuart McKenzie's slipstream here, and obviously waits till DRS is available, but he's up in an overtake already. Will he try and go for the lead of the Grand Prix? He's going to slip his car down the inside. No, I didn't see any jump starts either at the beginning of the race, so it all looked legit. But anyway, 40.22 now gets into the lead of the Grand Prix on lap 2, heading through the first chicane. He now jumps ahead of that Alfa Romeo car. Tots is still holding on to P3 ahead of the Gaming Way for MP4. P5 will be Zach Crine ahead of Tao, Wogboy, VSR Roscoe, Dr. Dre, and F1 Amazing Hours. Looking like he's going to try and make a move here on Dr. Dre, heading into the second chicane. Will he be able to get the job done? He's not close enough by the looks of it. He's going to have to try and wait for DRS. Dr. Dre, a little bit early on the brakes there, trying to manage And it looks like who's that gone? That's the gaming wafer's gone. So the driver that was sitting right behind Todd, so looking to put a lot of pressure on that Haas car, unfortunately lost it heading through the second chicane, so he will drop all the way back down behind F1 Amazing out into P10, but obviously he's going to have very hot tyres, and his teammate of El Tonki right behind him. So what's El Tonki going to be able to do? Will he be able to jump ahead of his teammate? Let me go back to this battle for the lead of the Grand Prix. It looks like 40's trying to edge his gap away at the moment. He's got 5/10 of a second between himself and Stu McKenzie behind Todd. He's trying to get within that DRS range, so these two in front of him don't pull away. He obviously has Zach Ryan right behind him now after the gaming wafers. Little mistake there. I'm not too sure if they made contact though, but 40 goes fastest with a 1 minute 22.878. As they now start lap 3 of 27. DRS is now enabled for the drivers, and still McKenzie's only going to edge ever so closer to the driver of 40 in front of him. Wildboy looks like he's making a move now on Very Lazy Tal. He gets himself up in a P5 now, does the Williams driver. Tal gets a pretty poor exit. What will Roscoe be able to do as he heads through the Curva Grande? Will Roscoe try and dive down the inside? He has the run, but it doesn't look like he will get the move done. He's chucked it back down to none. So he'll be trying to wait for a move down into the Ascari chicane. Obviously, he does have F1 Amazing out right behind him as well. He just dips his left rear tyre into the dirt there, did Roscoe, so that could hurt him a little bit through these Lesmo corners. As you can see, he's run a little bit wide of Roscoe in the wall. The harsh driver's into the wall of the Lesmo. Is there a safety car? I'm not too sure if there'll be a safety car because of that. That was a pretty hard hit there from the harsh driver. Obviously, ghosting is off, and there's a virtual safety car. So, here we go. Here's our first multi, which has been complete so far. So VSC within the first 7 laps, so that's one multi ticked, 1 of 4. So unfortunately for Roscoe, it looked like he just dipped his left rear tyre into the dirt, heading on the exit of the second chicane of turn 4 and 5, and that's just made the car oversteer ever so slightly on the exit of the first Lesmo, and unfortunately just dipped that tyre into the grass, and it's just so easy to spin the rear wheels on traction when that happens. But now it looks like the virtual safety car is about to end, as they are now back to green light racing, green flag racing, as it looks like now Spilly's trying to go down the inside of El Tonki, heading into turn 1 and 2. They're going to go side by side. The Toro Rosso Honda versus Ferrari Power. Who's going to get the better traction? It looks like they're going to go side by side through the Curva Grande. Who's going to get the move done? Obviously, Spilly has that inside line, but Old Tonki will have that inside line eventually heading into the second chicane. What will Spilly be able to do? Is he going to try and hang it there? He does actually be deeper on the brakes, and he gets the move done, but he's actually forced to go onto the curb. So will he have to hand that position back? Because he did actually use a little bit too much curb there. He did go off the track to get the maneuver done, so he could be in a little bit of trouble here from these stewards. We'll have to see what they end up doing post-race. Heading on to lap 4, about to be lap 5. 40 has a 5:10 lead ahead of the Alfa Romeo. Still McKenzie. Toddy's still holding on to P3, but obviously Zach Ryan's starting to catch up now. It looks like this harassed down MP16's unfortunately lost it at the exit of the second Lesmo. That just brought out a yellow flag through the second sector. There's another yellow flag heading into this corner. I'm not too sure what it's for, though. I think it's just a local yellow. Will still McKenzie try and make a move here on 40. He is close enough, but he's running obviously in none. No ERS at the moment. He's trying to save as much possible. He's currently sitting on 54% compared to 40's 51%. So they're pretty even at the moment, are these front two runners. Zach Ryan's now got ahead of Todson 99 into P3. He goes, so he now has his eyes on the front two in front of him of the pink Mercedes of 40 and still McKenzie in P2 of Alfa Romeo. F1 Amazing has got himself up in a P6 now. He has Wogboy in front of him, who is obviously one of the real quick controller players, but so is Amazing. I'm not too sure still if he is on the wheel or controller, but it looks like it will be dry conditions for the remainder of the Italian Grand Prix. Very Lazy Tower and Dr. Dre going to swap positions now. So Dr. Dre had very nice traction, obviously, heading on the exit of the first Lesmo, and he gets himself up in a P7 now. Does the Toro Rosso driver. It's a nice job from him. And now actually going to swap back to the leagues. Unfortunately, I missed this little battle here. Still McKenzie has got himself into the lead of the Grand Prix. So now 40 has now got back down or pushed back down into P2. So he had a very poor exit there did 40. So he's going to have to chuck it back up in an overtake here just to maintain that slipstream and DRS of Stuart McKenzie in front of him. Obviously, he is gaining. And as I said in the pre-race intro, it is such an advantage just to stay within slipstream and DRS. And F1 Amazing now goes fastest, as well as he just gets ahead of Wogboy heading into turn 1. So the Racing Point driver looking very quick at the beginning stages of this Grand Prix. Todster still holding on with Zach. Obviously, there's a 3-second margin between the two race leaders and Zach, so we'll have to see if he's able to close that in within the next couple of laps. Toddy's obviously just going to want to try and work here with Zach, just to try and stay ahead. He will now know that F1 Amazing is behind him and trying to chase him down. Wogboy will try and hold on to that Racing Point gearbox and stay within that DRS and slipstream. Amazing gets very tail happy on the exit of the second Lesmo as they now head down this long straight, heading under the old Monza Bowl. They head. Goes Wogboy. And as Zach Cryan and Todster swap position, so I think Zach may have made a little error there, as he runs a little bit wide on the exit of the Ascari chicane, nearly put it in the wall, as we saw the Alfa Romeo driver Stuart McKenzie do. And we're going to get back on board for the lead of the Grand Prix, because there's 0.2 of a second separating our leaders at the moment, and 40's nearly lost it. What a save there from the Racing Point driver. Nearly lost the car heading on the exit of Parabolic, and just managed to get the gas pedal off in time and correct that car. Will he make a move heading into turn 1? This will be a very nice move if he does. But he's going to slot back behind that that Alfa Romeo gearbox for another lap. Try and save up and build up that ERS. Stuart McKenzie's currently sitting on 35 compared to 40's 44. So it looks like Toddy is currently keeping up with Zach Cryan here. So I wouldn't be surprised if we see these two trying to work together here, just trying to give each other some little bit of breathing time on the ERS. They are actually losing a little bit of time now. They lost 0.3 of a second that lap alone. F1 Amazing is actually starting to catch up now. It was 4 seconds that previous lap, and he's pulled 0.5 of a second already. And now Tile and Dr. Dre going to go side by side, heading through the second sector. So second chicane, and Tao and Andre both lose the car. I thought Tao was going to put it in the wall, but he managed to save it. But Dr. Dre had a much bigger tank slapper on the exit of the second chicane, and unfortunately for him, he's dropped a spot now to Hooter Magic in that Red Bull car. BK's right there as well. He's done a very nice job here, has BK. He's up 9 spots in this Grand Prix. Obviously, I do believe this is his first time running no assists on this game, so he's done a very good job so far, has BK, and he's locked up massively heading into this guy chicane, and looks like he's still going to hold on to it. He's been spun now as BK's around at the Ascari chicane. Not too sure if he's made contact there with Dr. Dre, but unfortunately for the Alfa Romeo driver, he's going to have really, really hot tyres now. And unfortunately, all that work that he just did to get himself from the rear of the grid, already up into P13. Sorry, all the way up into P9. P10, sorry. Fortunately, all that work has been undone. Russ is going to hold on to P14. Gaming Burger and the Gaming Wafer, I think, have just had a little incident, because the Gaming Wafer in that Toro Rosso car has dropped all the way back down to P17. El Tonki, obviously, he's back down to P16 as well. I'm not too sure if he has made a pit stop. I'm going to swap this over, just have a look. He actually hasn't made a pit stop, so I'm not too sure what's happened here to El Tonki, but the first of the drivers now that have made a pit stop is Dr. Dre and Gaming Burger. And then it'll be the Gaming Wafer and Plebs. It's currently 4 drivers have made a pit stop so far in this Grand Prix. As you can see, the tyre choices on your screen so far. Between the drivers, 40 running a little bit wide. I'm going to give you a quick update real quick on what time penalties are going. 40 is currently on his last warning. Stuart McKenzie is in the same boat. Toddy is in the same boat. What is Zach Cryan on? He's currently on 1 warning. I'm just going to go through your top 5, and Amazing Al is in the same boat as Zach Cryan. So none of the top 5 currently have time penalties to their name. Gaming Burger just got himself a 3-second time penalty for multiple corner cutting warnings, but as you can see, 40 is trying to hold on here ahead of Stuart McKenzie. He's going to be chewing up his ERS, just having to defend from that Alfa Romeo car. Obviously doesn't want to chew up his tyres too much, so there's an advantage of being in both areas. Obviously, you'll save your ERS and fuel being behind another driver, but obviously you'll chew up your tyres so much quicker in that dirty air, and you'll just lose so much time through that second sector. And it looks like Wizzy Rick and Zach Cryan are now going at it, because Zach Cryan's into the pit lane. He's going to come out in P11s for a very early stop here from the Mercedes driver. I would have thought you would have pushed it out to at least lap 10, but we'll have to see what he ends up doing. He'll be hoping for a safety car potentially later on in the Grand Prix. He's going to come out just ahead of BKXI down in P12, who unfortunately made that little error. I'm not too sure if he did make contact there with Dr. Dre. Plebs now goes fast with the 21.7. He's obviously just come into the pits and put on that fresh set of soft tyres, as we just watched 40 there. Nearly lose it again heading through the Ascari chicane, so he's really struggling at the moment with rear traction. Maybe he needs to lower his differential a little bit just to help him on acceleration, but Stuart McKenzie, 0.6 of a second separate himself and 40.22. Is 40 coming into the pits this lap? He is, so Stuart McKenzie's going to follow him in here. He's not going to take any risks. None of them speed into the pit lane. Does Toddy follow him in? He does. What does F1 Amazing Out do? He stays out because he has to stay out basically, or he will get double stacked with 40. So this could hinder his strategy a little bit here from Amazing Out. Tau's going to continue because obviously he started on that medium compounded tyre. Same with Hooter Magic. Actually, no, he started on the soft compounded tyres, so we'll have to see what he ends up doing if he does pit next lap. But the drivers now start lap 10 of 27 in the Grand Prix. 17 laps remain in the Italian Grand Prix. Harass and BK have now swapped positions because BKXI is into the pit lane for a fresh set of medium compound tyres. He's going to drop back behind between Plebs and El Tonki by the looks of it, will BK. So will we see the Racing Point driver into the pits this lap? Yellow flag in Sector 3. Doesn't say anything on the mini-map, so I'm not too sure what's happening. She has the Toro Rosso. Is that El Tonki? And that was actually Amazing Al! Amazing Al's lost it! He's put it in the wall! So has he got damage? We just witnessed that as we were about to swap over to El Tonki, but now he has front wing damage. Here it is, Amazing Al, so he will come into the pits, and is that Ellis, who has spun round? It is, so unfortunately for him, I don't think Amazing Al will lose too much time. He's lucky he did it at the final corner, and the pit lane was right there, but it will cost him a bunch of time in the end. Unfortunately for him, he's choked it at the final the final corner, and that number 25 Racing Point car's going to drop way behind now. As you can see, Storm McKenzie and 40 have got a massive lead ahead of him now, as he will now have to do a front wing change. This is the Rock and Aussie Wizzy Rig going side by side as they now head through the Curva Grande. They go. This is Renault versus Mercedes Power as they head into the second chicane. Who's going to be deeper under brakes? It looks like he's actually going to go through him. There is Wizzy Rick. So unfortunately, a little bit of lag the game thought was going to happen, and they opted to let the drivers go just to stop a hazard or a incident from happening. As you just saw the Rock nearly lose it again heading through the exit of the Ascari chicane now. That is a pretty easy manoeuvre there for Todson99, as unfortunately for El Tonki, he has been disqualified from the Grand Prix. VSR Roscom and Alex have obviously DNF'd the race. Unfortunately, that will be three retirements from the Grand Prix. So where did Amazing end up coming out? He came out P12 in the end, so unfortunately for him, he's going to be way down the order. I'm going to swap this over to stop so we can see who has and who hasn't made a pit stop. Very Lazy Tower currently leads way for a Ferrari 1-2 at the moment. Is 40 going to try and make a move here as they now start lap 12 of 27 in the Grand Prix. Through the Curva Grande they go, heading into the second chicane under the Pirelli banner. Nearly runs into the rear of him there, does 40. Just gets that Racing Point car pulled up. Behind that gearbox of Stuart McKenzie. His gaming way for now has a 3-second time penalty, so the Toro Rosso driver down in P15, and the F1 Amazing now has a 3-second time penalty, so time penalties are starting to rack up here. A couple of drivers making mistakes as Gaming Burger just gets himself a time penalty as well. 40's still really struggling here, as you can see, with rear tyre grip heading through that Ascari chicane, so Unfortunately for him, he's not going to be doing his tyres very good or much good if he keeps doing that. As they now start lap 13 of 27 in the Italian Grand Prix. This is currently the battle for the provisional lead of the race. Obviously, Spilly and Very Lazy Tail in the Ferraris have yet to make a pit stop. They will be catching up to these two, Will Stuart McKenzie and 4022. They're obviously on pretty old medium tyres, so they'll be out for a little bit longer compared to the soft tyre runners. But this could come back in their favour towards the end of the Grand Prix. We'll have to see how that goes for them. There's a yellow flag through sector 1. I'm not too sure who that's for, as Toddy gets himself a 3-second time penalty down. In P6 at the moment he is, so he must have done it through the Ascari chicane. So will we see either Ferrari pit this lap? No, they don't, so they stay out for an extra lap. Now they're going to come under pressure now from Stuart McKenzie and the Racing Point of 4022 behind. Spilly doesn't look like he's going to want to give up this position too easy here to Stuart McKenzie. He goes to the outside line heading through the second chicane. And he gets the move done now to Stuart McKenzie. But he runs a little bit wide on the exit side. I don't think Spilly's going to want to give up too much time here, obviously, because he can't lose too much time from behind these drivers. But obviously 40 now has a car in between him, and he's going to go down the inside now, is 40. So he got that move done pretty easily there on that Ferrari. So now they both have their eyes on Very Lazy Tail in front of him, currently sitting in the lead of the Italian Grand Prix. BK now gets himself a 3-second time penalty. Down in P17, sorry. I just took a drink of water. Anyway. Will 40 get the move done here on Stuart McKenzie? He's actually going to go alongside him here. Heading into turn 1 goes the Racing Point driver, and now he has gone ahead of Stuart McKenzie. They are both currently on the same ERS. Well, pretty much the exact same ERS. So 40... it's not stuffing around here. He's getting himself ahead now of that Alfa Romeo car in front of him. Gets himself into the provisional lead of the Grand Prix. Very Lazy Tail, obviously still yet to make a pit stop in that Ferrari. He started on that medium yellow striped tyre. Down in P16. So P12, P11 or P12, one of those. He started. I'll be able to tell you that right now. He started in P11 in this Grand Prix. So he's up 11 spots at the moment. Spilly is up 10. So those two are doing a very good job at the moment, are the Ferrari drivers. Obviously, they are still yet to make a pit stop, but they will come out around that lap. That pit. Oh, sorry, around F1 Amazing, I do believe they'll come out. But we'll have to see what happens with them. Stay tuned after the Grand Prix as well, as we will be doing post-race interviews with our top 3. As you can see now, Tao into the pits. So the Ferrari driver into the pit lane now for his scheduled pit stop. He'll be going onto that soft compounder tyres. So let's see where he comes out. Wugboy will get ahead of him. I do believe he will get ahead of Amazing Hour, but I think he's going to come out just behind that Racing Point driver. It's actually going to be close between Amazing Hour and Tao here, actually. As the virtual safety car. This has actually worked perfectly for Tao here. It's going to be tight between Tao and Amazing Hour gets ahead. So I'm not too sure why there's a virtual safety car. I don't think there was any retirements. Actually, it was Harass. So Harass down in P16 has unfortunately retired from the race. So the McLaren driver will be the 4th retirement from the Italian Grand Prix. And as you can see, Tao will come out ahead of Dr. Dre in P8. As it looks like the virtual safety car is about to end. So we're back to green flag racing, and 40 just made a little error there heading through the Ascari chicane. DRS is now re-enabled, so that's brought Stuart McKenzie back up. We have seen 40 make a couple of errors so far already in this race. So will McKenzie sit in 40's DRS and slipstream here and just try and save up a little bit here and try and pounce? So I think the smartest thing for McKenzie here would be, is he going to try and make a move? He's heading into turn 1, doesn't get the move done. A little bit too far back, but now Zach Crime's also going to try and catch up. But I think the smarter thing for McKenzie here would to be make 40 use his ERS up. So make him use it up as much as possible with you. He also needs to try and save it. So if he can get it to around that 90%, and then try and get the move done on 40 and try and edge away while 40 has no ERS available, I think that would be a smart thing for McKenzie to do here if he wants to try and get into the leaders. He's now starts lap 17 of 27 to the leaders. 10 laps remain in the Grand Prix. Zach obviously doesn't seem to have the pace that I think he would have liked to in this Grand Prix. So Mercedes really struggling at the moment to find pace. So he's currently sitting in P3 at the moment. 3 seconds separate himself and the top 2. Another yellow flag through Sector 2. Not too sure who that is for. Sector 3 rather. We're going to go through your order real quick as the drivers are about to start. Actually, who's that? That's BK. That's unfortunately spun around again on the exit of the Ascari chicane. So the Alfa Romeo driver, his day's gone from really, really good to bad to really, really bad. So unfortunately for him, he's going to be down P16, down a lap as well in this Grand Prix. So his race is pretty much over. You can see Stuart McKenzie still holding on at the moment in P2. Obviously, Zach Crumb will be pushing very hard here to try and catch up. Obviously, he doesn't have much ERS available to him here, as you can see. Spilly now and Dr. Dre going to go side by side, heading into turn 1. Spilly obviously has a DRS. He actually got that move done pretty quickly, so I think Dr. Dre may have made a little error on the exit of Parabolica, also known as the final corner. So now Spilly gets himself up into P7. Oh, he is obviously on that soft compound tyres, Spilly. So he's going to be rapid towards the end of the Grand Prix. His next target will be F1 Amazing. And who's that in front of him? It's actually gone off. I think that's just BK trying to get out of the way here. You can see it is. So I thought that was Wogwood that unfortunately went off. So Amazing out holding on to P6 at the moment. P7 will be Spilly, ahead of Dr. Dre, Aussie Wizzy Rick, and Rennie. Your top 10 will be Hooter Magic, who looks like he may have just dipped a tyre into the dirt on the exit of the second chicane. Plebs and Very Lazy Towel have just swapped positions as Towel is now into the pit lane for another pit stop. So unfortunately for him, he's had to come into the pit lane for another set of soft tyres. He'll most likely be going for fastest lap. Not too sure if he did get damaged, but now Stuart McKenzie's got himself back into the lead of the Grand Prix. We just saw in the background while we were spectating Very Lazy Towel. So now the lead has changed once again. They're both currently sitting on the same ERS, so will we see 40 try and just wait it out for a while here? And Spilly now goes fastest with a 21.5. So he'll be taking home an extra point in this Grand Prix. Obviously, everyone that finishes the race here in Dynamic Nights does actually get points. So if you just finish the Grand Prix, you're guaranteed points in the Grand Prix. But I'm not too sure how it goes for fastest lap. I know it's definitely top 10 will get the fastest lap. So I'm not too sure if anyone out of the top 10 will be able to earn that extra point. Yellow flag for his extra on BK. Has been disqualified from the Grand Prix, so unfortunately for the Alfa Romeo driver, he makes that the 5th retirement from the Grand Prix. So now we only have 15 drivers remaining in the session. Towel is now coming up to being lapped here. He is obviously on that soft compound tyre, so I would think he would start to pull away from these two if anything, but blue flags are blue flags unfortunately, so he might have to get out of the way. Zach Crichton currently sitting at 3.2 seconds between himself and the leaders. So he's not actually gaining too much here, is Tao. Sorry, not Tao. Zach Crichton. As a Rockneck gets himself a 5-second time penalty, but I'm going to really quickly check for you what the race director, or the time penalties I should say, are doing. So currently Mackenzie is on a 3-second time penalty, 40. Still on his last warning. Zach Crichton on 1 warning still. Todd Starr has 1 penalty, and Wogboy has 3-6 penalties. So unfortunately for Mackenzie at the moment, he doesn't actually, or won't be able to win this race at this stage. So if 40 can technically just stay within 3 seconds and not get himself any time penalties, he can actually win this race. So Stuart Mackenzie has now been overtaken for the lead of the Grand Prix. They start lap 21 of 27, 6 laps remain in the Italian Grand Prix. So the lead has changed once again. So I think here 40 needs to really focus on not getting any time penalties. Obviously he is on his final warning, I do believe. Zach Crichton's now edging ever so closely. He's pulled about a 10th, maybe 2 tenths to these two in front of him. Obviously that is not enough. He needs to catch up a lot faster if he wants to have any chance of getting onto the podium. He's obviously still yet to get a time penalty, is Zach. So he's not doing too bad at the moment. Very Lazy Tao just got himself a 3-second time penalty as well for Ferrari down in P15. He's trying to edge away at the moment from the leaders. It looks like he's quicker. Obviously he's on that soft compounded tyre, so he should in theory be quicker compared to these two. But obviously we've got 2 very quick drivers here of 40-22 and Stuart Mackenzie. Let me pull up the live chat real quick so I can see what you guys are saying. Thank you everyone for joining the stream as well. As the drivers now start lap 22 of 27, so 5 laps remain in the Italian Grand Prix. I'm trying to find a battle that's happening on track for you guys. Doesn't actually look like anyone's real close at the moment. This looks like it is the closest battle on track at this stage. As the Gaming Waif has now got himself a 2nd, I do believe, time penalty for this Grand Prix. So he's at least got 6 seconds worth of penalties. Has the Toro Rosso driver down in P12 at the moment. Wouldn't be surprised if we see Stuart Mackenzie here. Just sit behind 40 for a couple more laps here. Try and save up his ERS as much as possible, just so that he can potentially try and pounce with the last couple of laps. As when they cross the line, there will be 4 laps remaining. So I think Tao was actually trying to go for fastest lap here. I'm going to swap this over to fastest lap so you can see who does it. It's currently still Spilly with the 21.2. It's 40 actually. So we need to remember as well, Stuart Mackenzie currently does have a 3-second penalty. He does have Turo at the end of the Grand Prix. So at this stage, it's going to be tied between himself and Zach Crichton, to be honest. So Zach needs to try and push a little bit here, so that he can get within that 3-second mark of Stuart Mackenzie, so he can get himself into P2. We have to see if he's able to do so. Toddy running a pretty lonely P4 at the moment for Haas ahead of Wogboy MP5. F1 Amazing Hours now starting to catch up to him. It's Billy down in P7, obviously on that fresh set of soft, well not really fresh, but obviously on that softer compounded tyre. Will be catching up to these guys in front of him pretty quickly. Dr. Dre MP8, and then rounding out your top 9 and 10 spot will be Aussie Wizzy Rick for McLaren and Hooter Magic for Red Bull MP10. The Gaming Burger MP11, P12 will be the Gaming Wafer, P13 Plebs. Unfortunately for Plebs, hasn't had the best of races so far. We haven't actually looked too much at what's been happening with Plebs, so not too sure if he's just been getting himself in some incidents or he just had some bad luck with his yellow flag through Sector 2. Not quite sure who that's for. But we have 15 drivers remaining in the Italian Grand Prix. Still McKenzie, you just saw, is really pushing hard at the moment. You see Tao's obviously catching up to the Rock now, so there's going to be 2 battles going on here in the same part of the racetrack, but obviously they are on different laps at the moment. So obviously the Rock is currently on lap 23. So the Rock and Very Lazy Tao are currently on lap 23. They will start lap 24 when they cross the line. And 40 and Stuart McKenzie are on lap 24. So they are catching up now, McKenzie and 40. So this could start to play, or some games could be played here. It'll be whoever can get through the paddle, or this little pack, as quick as possible. Obviously that's going to be a bit of a struggle because Very Lazy Tao is on that soft tyre. But if they do start battling Tao and Rock, obviously they're actually both on the soft tyres. So if they do start battling, this will only edge them closer as they now start lap 25 of 27, 3 laps remaining in the Italian Grand Prix. Stuart McKenzie's just holding on here, as you can see. 40 really needs to stay VRS. He's got 7% available to him at the moment. So Plebs has now got himself a 3-second time penalty. So I do believe 40 is still holding on to no penalties at this stage. As Plebs has now got himself ahead of the Gaming Wafer. In the P12 he goes, heading through Ascari. The Red Bull the Renault driver up into P12. And you see Tao now is trying to make a move on the Rock. They're going to ghost inside each other here. Are the 2 drivers about to be lapped? They will be shown the blue flags. And you see Rock gets out of the way pretty quickly. He's not trying to get involved, but obviously the Very Lazy Tao up now into P14, runs a little bit wide on the exit of Parabolica. Obviously we have seen what can happen if you do run too wide on the exit of Parabolica, but now Plebs and Gaming Wafer are going at it. Gaming Wafer went way too deep into the corner there, so unfortunately he's going to drop back down behind Plebs. I just saw him go spearing off to Narnia on the exit of turn 1. As you can see, that's Tao there. I think Tao may have just lost a bit of front wing to the Rock. So has the Rock got damage? Yeah, I just want to... These camera angles aren't really helping me at the moment, but... He has, so... The Rock doesn't have a right end plate. What has Tao got? Tao's still going, so... Unfortunately for the Rock, he's now got himself no right end plate, so he's going to be really struggling towards... Or for the rest of this Grand Prix as they start the penultimate lap of the Greys. 40, 7/10 of a second separate himself and Stuart McKenzie. Still around that same ERS mark, but you would think that it would work in 40's in McKenzie's favour. Zach Crine has unfortunately dropped up massively at this later stage in the Grand Prix. Todster on 5 seconds behind. F1 Amazing Hour still holding on to P5 at the moment. Spilly's got himself ahead of Wogboy. Aussie Wizzy Rick trying to catch up to Dr. Dre, but we're going to go back to this battle for the lead of the Grand Prix as they now start the final lap of the race. What is Stuart McKenzie going to do? He's going to go to the outside line. Heading into turn 1 they go now. They're going to go side by side. It looks like 40's going to slot back in behind, so he's Going to be smart about this. He's going to take his time, obviously. 5 kilometers they have to battle it out. It seems like ages, but it's not that much in an F1 car. He'll try and make the move, potentially heading into Parabolica maybe, or through the Ascari chicane, but he's going to be saving as much ERS as possible here. Is 40. As Mackenzie's already got himself another 3-second time penalty, so 6 seconds now between Stuart McKenzie and Zach Crichton. So unfortunately for him, well, 40 really needs just to stay within 3 seconds here. So, or stay within 6 seconds and he'll win this Grand Prix. So, not too much of an issue here from 40. I think he may have realised that and not really try to put up a battle here between Stuart McKenzie and himself. As he nearly loses it there, did 40. Nearly put it in the wall, but anyway. Looks like Stuart McKenzie will win the Grand Prix. 40 weaving his way down the straight, heading into Parabolica. They go now. They just got to keep it on track, as it looks like they will. Stuart McKenzie's going to come up to the line. He's going to win the Italian Grand Prix on track. But unfortunately for him, 40-22 is going to take the Italian Grand Prix for Racing Point. Congratulations to him. Zach Crichton's going to come home P3 for Mercedes. P4 looks like it's going to be Todd. So it's a very nice drive there from him. The top 4 all remain the same in the end from qualifying. F1 Amazing is going to jump up 3 spots here. He's going to go into P5 now for Racing Point. P7. So he's actually going to drop P6, I should say. Sorry about that. So Spilly's actually now jumped a few people. So Spilly's up 10 spots in this Grand Prix. That is a mega result for him. 100% driver of the day goes to Spilly. He started from P14 and up into P4. What a drive from him. Todster will come home P5 ahead of Amazing Our Wogboy, Aussie Wizzy Rick. Dr. Dre will hold it off. Hooter Magic for P10. Plebs will come home P11 by the looks of it. The Gaming Way for MP12. The Rock and Very Lazy Towel MP14. Sorry about that, guys. I'm just trying to get the drivers into the party. But anyway, here, as you can see, the podium for the Dynamic Nights Esports Master Tier for round 6 at the Italian Grand Prix. Congratulations to our podium getters of 40, Zach Crichton and Stuart McKenzie. We're going to try and get them into the party now, real quick, for some post-race interviews. But as you can see, these are the provisional results for the Italian Grand Prix. 40-22 takes the win for Racing Point ahead of Stuart McKenzie in P2. P3 will be Zach Crichton. He rounds out your podium. P4 will be Spilly, who we will also try and invite to the party with that mega drive from him. Tots will come home P5. P6, F1 Amazing Hour, Wogboy in P7, Aussie Wizzy Rick in P8 for McLaren. P9 will be Dr. Dre 3000, and running at your top 10 will be Hooter Magic ahead of Plebs, Waffles, The Rock, and Very Lazy Tail will be the last of the finishers in the end. Gaming Burger will come home P15. Oh, sorry, obviously he did DNF the race, I do believe. Actually, no, Gaming Burger did finish, so Burger did, actually no, he didn't finish, sorry about that. So Gaming Burger, Harass, Alex, VSR, Oscar, and BK and El Tonkio all unfortunately did not finish the race. But I'm going to quickly put this over to the Be Right Back screen. We'll be back with you shortly, obviously. We're going to try and get some post-race interviews for you guys. We'll be back very soon. Stay tuned. So here we have our top 3 podium getters, and obviously Spilly, who was our driver of the day in the end, gaining 10 spots in the end. So we're going to start with you, Spilly. Obviously, congratulations on getting 10 spots up at the end of the Grand Prix. Started P14 and managed to get yourself in P4 in the end after time penalties. How'd you feel with your strategy? And obviously, starting on that fresh set of tyres, you managed to get your way up the grid pretty early.
Yeah, I lost like 4 positions at the start, but the strategy paid off. Almost, if I pitted a lap earlier, I would have got the virtual safety car, but
yeah,
unlucky.
So unfortunately,
my teammate came in.
So unfortunately, we're having a few technical difficulties here with Mackenzie, so hopefully he joins back. We're going to go to our race leader, though. There we go, I can hear him now. So 40-22, congratulations on the win. Obviously, in the end, they obviously didn't win it on track, though, so it's a bit disappointing. So he came home P2 on track, but obviously took the win after Stuart Mackenzie getting 6 seconds worth of penalties in that Grand Prix. But also surprised that Zach Crine managed to not get any time penalties in the end as well. That's somewhat surprising. But how'd you feel there, 40? Being behind Stuart Mackenzie for a little bit of the race as well. Did he just leave? Actually, that was Philly, never mind. How did you feel? Both of you even, just being behind each other. You were swapping positions a lot. I thought we would have seen some games been played just sitting behind each other, just trying to save as much ERS as possible.
Yeah, that's pretty much basically as you were saying. We knew that we couldn't let Zach into our little DRS train, so the moment he got in there, we were going to be compromised in our race, and yeah, it could have been a race win for anyone. Whereas I saw that Mackenzie got the penalty pretty early on, and so I guess I just consolidated and yeah, made sure I was pretty consistent.
Yeah. How did you feel, Mackenzie? How was your race? Obviously starting on the front row of the grid, leading into turn 1 in the first couple of laps. Obviously, I think there was a little bit of a glitch with the start lights. In the end, I think I had Zach complaining again about something.
Oh, be quiet. What a surprise. Zach and complaining. Oh, mate, not again. Ah, shit, here we go again.
No, but how did you feel though, leading into turn 1, obviously? How was that? So you managed to lead, I think it was still like lap 2, I think then 40 made the move, but what was you thinking there? Did you want to try and make sure you held on to the lead, or did you want to just sit behind 40 for a little while and just try and edge away from the drivers behind?
Yeah, it was, obviously, yeah, the few drivers had the starting glitch where the race starts were a bit delayed, so yeah, I just want to try and get away from the fighting pack and try and minimize the amount of people fighting for the lead. Bailey had excellent pace all race, so I knew that if I could somewhat stick with him and yeah, just get him to pull me along, we could manage that. Yeah, but towards the end, yeah, there was really no point in me trying to fight Bailey because I was yeah, my fight was with Zach behind to consolidate P2, yeah, with the penalties, and yeah, I was just focusing on trying to consolidate that. On the last lap, obviously, yeah, I went for it, wanted to lead the last lap and win the race on track, but yeah, no, congrats to Bailey. He had excellent pace all race. He kept it out of the fence here. Had a few moments though coming out of Scary, but it was yeah, it was good fun. Happy to see that the momentum's finally swinging back my way. So looking forward to the coming races. Definitely,
but we're going to move on to you now, Zach. You were looking like you could have potentially gotten P2 in the end there, but unfortunately you dropped off massively at the end. Your pace just completely went to nowhere. What happened there in the end? Or the last stint of the race?
Yeah, just really didn't have much feel on the mediums, to be honest. Was struggling quite a bit on fuel-wise to Ascari and all that. But, yeah, just was slow, to be honest.
More excuses?
Slow. Shut up. Stop trying to get me back for last night's stream. But, yeah, it was not the best race, but, yeah, I was trying to catch up to Bailey and Mackenzie there, but you know they had their little bum buddy DRS train going, so I couldn't catch up.
That's exactly what it was. Yep,
mate. I was like, "Don't you do this to me?" And they did. So yeah, it was quite a lonely race, just listening to Spotify. You know, just going through my playlist. But yeah, finished the race P3.
But anyway,
I'll take that.
Thank you guys so much for joining the party for some post-race interviews. Congratulations to you all on the podium, but that has been your Dynamic Nights Esports PS4 what do you call it, Master Tier. Thank you guys so much for joining, and I will see you guys next time.
He's muted us. What a grab.
Yeah, what the hell.
No.